Today on WBTV, we're going to be talking about the new Dead by Daylight killer and survivor, well, the new chapter, and all the perks and weird things that is coming with it. Okay, so if you haven't heard, the new chapter of Dead by Daylight was announced on November 10th. So, I can't remember, what is it called? Something...
The Twins.
Wait, no, but what's the chapter name?
I don't think they have any.
That's the Dead by Daylight music. Oh, there you go. Kin.
A binding
of kin. So technically, for the uneducated about the chapter, the trailer almost kind of looks like there are two killers in this chapter, because not only is there little Victor at the start of the trailer, but then big Charlatino comes up and ploops Victor in the chest and marches away, and they kill their man. Who they kill? They kill.
They rip David King.
Yeah, they rip David King to shreds. So when we saw the teaser, we saw snow and we saw the arm come up and we heard the little shriekaroonie, and a lot of us, me included, was hoping that we were going to get the Wendigo from Until Dawn. Yeah, I mean technically the hag is kind of already a Wendigo because she has that like cannibalism aspect that like the Wendigo
okay, but she doesn't have the sort of power system like the Wendigo
it's not the same way.
Exactly.
And hag is also not called a Wendigo ever in the lore or anything like that. So
yeah, she's a hag, she's a witch, she's a bog witch from the swamp. Yeah.
Backwater swamp. Garbage map.
Yeah.
They should just delete that one. During graphics update, they should just be like replace it. Give it something else. So the big exciting thing with this chapter is it's not necessarily completely confirmed yet, but most of us believe that we're going to be getting a new Ormond Map because it's a wintry chapter. We have yet to see what that map is going to look like, but we have seen the graphics update for old Ormond.
But see, remember, I think they may not be prioritizing new maps. They may just be prioritizing graphics update, because if you remember the Blight did not come out with a map.
No.
The last killer, he did not come out with a map. He came with a set of graphics updates. So if they're graphics updating Ormond and then Autohaven Wreckers, then they probably won't have a new map coming out with the Twins.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because new maps are always the best.
Yeah.
Like sure, graphics update is like a new map, but it's not the same thing.
And I was pretty hyped for a new variation of Ormond, because I love Ormond. When it first came out, me and Blake were grinding Dead by like crazy, and I have played that map way too much that I don't like it anymore.
I mean, I like the map, but it just made me hate Legion, because I've heard so many Legions.
If you don't know, the killer is they're twins, and you have the sister who's the big chungus out of the two, and then you have Victor who's the little Timmy that runs around, and Victor has the way that he attacks is kind of like a lunge, but it's like a leap. So he jumps up in the air and on your back. So unlike other killers, he can jump over pallets, he can jump through windows, but he cannot jump on top of things.
Yeah,
or else
he'll
he dies.
Bounce off. Yeah, exactly. Also, how he works is if he pounces on a survivor and he gets a first hit, he will stick on the survivor, and if they move, so we technically did get kind of a movement-based kind of killer, even though we didn't get Wendigo. Victor only shows the survivor's location that he is on, or if there's any other survivors near, if they are moving around. And also, you can leave him on the ground as a beacon, and if survivors start to move around, you also get notified about him. They need some hard buffs on these killers, because if you hop into a locker, Victor can't do anything. Victor can't get you. Also, there's no incentive to take Victor off your back just yet, as we're recording this video, but they're saying they're going to do something like the Legion, where if you don't take him off your back, you will go down, just like a Ment, if you don't Ment, like from the Legion, or from Deathslinger's first hit of his gun.
I mean, that makes the most sense, because to me, that's kind of the... As I see it, that's kind of the way this killer's supposed to work. You're supposed to use Victor to down people, and then you go and pick them up and hook them. The bad thing about it is because it is two killers, in a way, when you spawn Victor, or plop Victor out of your chest, Charlotte, the sister, stands AFK while Victor goes running around. You can only control one at a time, and you can, you know, let Victor out and then switch back to control Charlotte and then switch back to control Victor. But as Victor is standing AFK, survivors can come up and punt him.
Yep.
And if they punt him, Victor dies. And I also think that if you leave him for long enough, he dies.
I don't know.
I'm almost pretty 95% sure that if you just leave Victor standing, I think there's like a cooldown. And if it cools down all the way, then he dies. But I mean, all you have to do is just switch back to Victor for 1 second and then switch back. So.
See, there's also another downside with that, is when you switch between Victor and Charlotte, we expected there to be some sort of mind game, some sort of trick, some sort of messing with survivors. But it's the easiest giveaway to tell when you swap. Yeah. On Charlotte, your terror radius disappears, she freezes, her eyes go down, the red killer stain disappears. Yeah. So you instantly know she just swapped to Victor. And then when you swap to Victor, he starts screaming, red blood stain.
Yeah.
So,
but Victor does not have a terror radius.
Yes, he has like a specific screaming sound, kind of like Huntress Lullaby.
Yeah.
So when you swap between them, it's super obvious and super easy for survivors to tell. So I think another like buff to make the killer at least playable, at least winnable, they have to keep the red stain and the terror radius or the screams to play mind games and trick the survivors, just like you would as your spirit phasing body stays still and keeps your terror radius.
Or even just like adding something like the Doctor, where like pops up around you, like kind of like you know when you're insane in the Doctor and you can see the killer in front of you but they're not actually there. Adding something like that where the killer kind of like moves around the map but they're not actually
they go
there.
On autopilot. Yes, I thought that's what they were going to do. A lot of people thought they were going to be like an AI when you swap off, but then they kind of just stood still. Yeah. So,
which I mean, they have the capability because on Dead by Daylight Mobile, if you DC, the killer becomes an AI.
Yep.
Which I mean, to me, if you have a killer as an AI, they don't even have to like engage in chases in the game. Just it would make it so much more interesting if they were at least moving.
Yeah.
Or it would make you, because you can't tell, is it the AI or is it... I mean, eventually I'm sure there would be some sort of giveaway.
There would be also an interesting level of play there with add-ons. Like you could throw add-ons where, Charlotte follows Victor around.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, Victor gets it down, or gets on a survivor, you instantly swap to Charlotte, and because you have the add-on of Charlotte follows Victor at a slow rate, you can now switch to Charlotte and she's closer. Or you can put Charlotte on autopilot with an add-on and say, go around and check gens. And if someone is on a gen, like walk past it or just leave it. Or if they're not and it's like working, kick it. Like you can have add-ons to program the AI basically. Yeah. I think that would be an interesting thing, but they're definitely not going anywhere down that route, which kind of sucks.
I mean, the other major thing too is when you transform or when you flip back to Charlotte, you've now controlled Victor, ran him to the opposite side of the map, and now you're Charlotte all the way back on the other side of the map, and you have to make your way all the way over to that side of the map. And at the moment, the survivor is not going to be downed from an attack by Victor unless they're injured. So there's not really any incentive. Like, you have to make it all the way over there to hit them, to get them to go down. So there's not really much incentive to deploying Victor. You might as well just go attack him yourself.
I mean, overall, the killer isn't very strong. There's some niche situations or like uses of the killer that could be strong or could be done well and effectively, but overall, she's not going to win games. And
they have already done some nerfing to the killer while it was on the PTV to try to reduce the camping possibilities that they have with the killer and the tunneling possibilities that they have. Basically, when it was first released, there was no radius that you could teleport to Victor from Charlotte. So basically, you could hook somebody, plop Charlotte right in front of the hook, and then switch to Victor. And now
nobody can
thought of that. Unhook because Charlotte's right in front of the hook.
So toxic.
So what they have done is there's like a radius now, so you can't teleport to Victor or deploy Victor if you're so close to somebody on hook. So ideally, that will allow you to. I mean, but still, like it allows for proximity camping, like you sit by the hook while you go chase somebody else.
That at least gives you a chance to get away, or at least an unhook into a borrowed time, right?
I mean, borrowed time is going to become a lot more important.
Borrowed time's always been important.
When facing killers like that.
Top-rated perk for me.
And a couple other things. Victor himself is actually extremely fast. I'm not 100% sure what his speed is, but every gameplay video I've watched, people are just commenting on how ridiculously fast he is. Which, I mean, makes sense because if he has to get a decent distance away from you to then pounce back, you would want him to be fast enough to make him strong enough. And then Victor himself screams when he attacks you or makes this really loud noise.
Yeah, he makes it like a growl into like a yell.
Yeah, so that's how you can tell that he's coming to you.
His movement speed also slows when he charges the pounce.
Yeah.
So.
And when Victor is on your back, that's the same as Bear Trap, and I think that's the only thing. You cannot escape the map. But this is not really done very well because unlike a Bear Trap where if you try to escape with it on, it kills you, with Victor, you can just run. It pretty much the entity blocks the exit.
Yeah.
So you can just run at the exit like this, and then when Charlotte
against the wall,
when Charlotte smacks you, Victor automatically comes off your back and you fall out.
Exactly.
So it's not done. I mean, I never watched. I don't know what happens if you enter hatch with Victor on your back. If it's the same as
you just escape.
Yeah, the same as the Bear Traps. So that's pretty much basic gameplay with the new killer.
Isn't really impressive. It's kind of just us trashing it, really. Yeah. It wasn't a good killer.
If anything, it's almost like weird. The gameplay, I feel like for killer mains, it's going to be interesting because it's something new.
It's so unique.
And it's so unique, something they've never had before. But I feel like from a survivor standpoint, it's going to be a lot different to play standard games against this killer because not only is your terror radius disappear, but there's people sending AFK on the map, and it's just going to be a completely different experience, which is interesting. But also, if they're useless, then that's not interesting. That's just going to lead to... I mean, even Blight. Like, Blight is not the greatest killer.
No, Blight can be good if you know how to play him. Like, his mobility is so high that all you need is you put a good perk build on him and he can become a death machine.
Yeah, but unlike other killers, he's not... he doesn't really have... most of the time he's attacking, he's just an M1 killer.
Yes.
He just uses his speed to move around.
But that's the thing. He's an M1 killer with an insane high mobility
rate.
So,
Yeah. Unlike Billy, who can slap ya. Or Bubba. Quickly adding into this video, Bubba's got a new Mama skin that came out. Anyways, I guess we should move on to the perks in the new chapter. So... we'll do killer perks first.
So, I mean, the first one is Hoarder, and it's not really anything interesting. It's kind of a niche perk, and if you're a killer that doesn't really care about perks, or like if you're like a newbie killer and you're deciding to run Franklins, then this combos with Franklins, I guess. But it's called Hoarder, and so if you're within 24 meters of a chest and someone starts opening a chest, you receive a loud noise notification, like someone just vaulted a pallet or vaulted a window, as well as 2 additional chests spawn in the map, but the rarity of items, chances to spawn is decreased, and also the 24 meters applies to just if a survivor picks up an item as well. So that's what I'm saying, it combos with Franklin's. Yeah. You hit someone who's carrying a key, or carrying a medkit, or carrying a brand new part toolbox. You hit them, Franklin's it, and then if they go to pick it up while you're still nearby, you get a notification. So.
I mean, to me, I think the perk where it exposes you when you come out of the locker is honestly
Iron Maiden.
It's a better version of that, because not only does it notify you that someone has come out of a locker, but now you get extra. You get an extra incentive because
they're exposed.
They're exposed, so you can insta down. But this, it just tells you if someone's opening a chest, and honestly, I don't really think chests affect gameplay as much as lockers.
They really don't, unless you're going for a key or a rainbow map.
Yeah. Like, lockers can make or break a chase, and lockers can also make or break a game depending on if the person's running barbecue.
Exactly. So, you run barbecue Iron Maiden, they try and hide in a locker from your barbecue, and he's gonna find you anyways. The killer's gonna find you anyways because of Iron Maiden. So
honestly, I think that's just a crappier version of Iron Maiden. I think that's a better substitute for that. So the next killer perk is Oppression, and this perk is when you kick a generator, it can damage up to 3 other generators around that generator that you kicked. So that in itself is good. It's kind of a decent perk. But then the downside to this one is it has a 120-second cooldown.
I think that's level 1, unless they nerfed it even more. I'm pretty sure max level was an 80-second cooldown, so they decreased it by 20 seconds per each level up.
About right. So anyways, kicking the generators and other ones regressing makes sense, but in the end, is this perk really worth adding to your build? I don't really think so.
I mean, honestly, a Hex Ruin and a Hex Retribution would work better than this. So
or a Ruin and a Haunting Ground, because then you get that exposed too on everybody.
Well, I mean, Hex Retribution is more effective though, right? Because that means they have to cleanse at least 4 totems to possibly get rid of your Ruin.
Yeah.
So.
Or Undying too.
Well, no, that's the thing. If they cleanse Undying first,
then
you have to cleanse a 5th totem to get a Ruin. But if you cleanse Ruin first, then the 5th totem is Undying, and it does nothing.
Yeah.
So the last killer perk is Coup de Grace. Each time a generator is completed, Coup de Grace grows in power. You gain a token. I don't think it specifies how many tokens you get or can stack in total, but then again, it affects your lunge, and you're going to be lunging quite often, and what it does is, I don't know if it automatically expends a totem, like Play With Your Food, or the other Michael Obsession perk, Save the Best for Last. It auto-deletes the token when you take a swing, or when you get a hit. So, I feel like it'll instantly remove it when you lunge, but it increases your lunge attack by 60%. And already on a base killer, that sounds really strong, but you gotta think, the killers with longer lunges, like this, on a tier 3 Michael, who already has a speed boost, who already has a lunge increase, Coup de Grace, 60% lunge bonus onto his already increased lunge. So you take that increased lunge, times it by 60%. You take Freddy's large lunge, times it by 60%.
And then you add in crappy hit detection on top of that, and
That is true, yeah. It could be a really powerful perk in the right hands of the right killer. Like, I think it's situational. I think on other killers with shorter terror radius, shorter lunges, it'll be more useless. Or other killers, you'll just have better perks to fit on a killer. It'll be situational and maybe only fit 1 or 2 killers, but it is a very strong perk and it's a viable perk compared to the other 2, which are not so much. Yeah. On to the Survivor perks.
Yeah, so we haven't talked much about the Survivor, but there is a new Survivor coming out with this. I mean, there's nothing different about a Survivor other than the perks. Other than no.
We just got a Hoarder Claudette, Wade. Don't you dare diss Elodie. I forget her last name, but don't you dare diss Elodie.
It should be right there.
Elodie Beaumont.
So the first Survivor perk is Appraisal. Is that right? Yeah, Appraisal. Yep. And you have a careful eye that notices what many overlook. So what this perk does is you consume a token. So you search a chest, and then you leave, and then you come back, and you can consume a token to search that chest again.
There you go. But and you get 3 tokens.
Yes.
Overall.
And when you look any chest in the game, it goes 80% faster. The search of the chest.
So honestly, looking at this perk alone, it seems kind of bad. But if you go into a game and you can just fiend for a rainbow map or fiend for a pink key or broken items, you go Plunderer's Instinct to get high rarity items, you go Wake Up to increase your chest opening speed, you go Appraisal to increase your chest opening speed, and then I think it's Ace in the Hole, that adds rare item add-ons.
Yeah.
And then everyone stacks coins, and you have like 8 chests to open, times 2, 16 chests. Like, obviously, advancing in the game and trying to escape, that's not going to help. Yeah. But I just think it's an interesting synergy to add on to the chest-searching build.
I mean, and it can also add to, like, objective points, right? Because you get objective by searching chests. So you get more objective by equipping this perk.
Also, debatably, you could use it as a substitute for a healing perk. Instead of taking a Nancy Wheeler locker perk to go find a totem or self-care. Actually, I'd probably choose self-care over this.
Yeah.
But instead of having to search a chest and hoping you get a medkit. But still, you search a chest, you find a medkit, heal. You can search it again, and then get another medkit to heal later. So,
or you search a chest because you're looking for a medkit, and you get a toolbox, and then you search that same chest again, and you get a medkit. Because you can search it twice.
Okay. Second perk, and I mean, it's meh again. I just want to get to the third perk. The third perk is what's good here. So, Deception. What happens is, when you interact with a locker and you go to sprint into it, instead of like full sprinting into the locker, you like jump out, and it still notifies the killer with a loud noise, but instead, you hop out, and for the next 3 seconds, your scratch marks are hidden. So it's another one of those juke perks, or mess with the killer perks, like Diversion, like Red Herring, where you were working on a generator, hop in a locker, it pops. Diversion, you were in the killer's terror radius for so long, you can throw a rock. And, like, it's just another mess with the killer, mind games type of perk.
And, I mean, I just realized we could put this perk in the locker perk build that we talked about in our perk build video, where you get that Nancy locker heal, hop in the locker, quick Nancy locker heal, hide out, jump out, and you get a little bit of a distraction going that way. I mean, it's a little bit better than head on, I think.
I think
might be a little bit more useful.
No, because it's, you sprint. You have to sprint into a locker, and it makes a loud noise. So quick and quiet wouldn't cancel that out. And you only have scratch marks hidden for 3 seconds. So if you Nancy locker healed, it would negate the scratch marks.
Yeah.
So doesn't really fit the logger build, so it's kind of just meh. It's just to mess with the killer perk.
And then the final juicy perk. This is probably the best perk in this entire.
This is a meta perk right here.
Between killer and survivor. I mean, I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is one of the best perks that have been released in a while.
Yes.
I mean, I think since the Nancy Locker Heel perk, which I think is also a really damn good perk, this one is called Power Struggle. And what it is while being carried by the killer, once your struggle reaches 25%, which is majority of the time you're struggling, unless you got down right beside a hook, if the killer walks by a pallet or through a pallet, you can activate this power, drop the pallet on the killer, stun the killer, and you're off the killer's back. So not only are you just getting off the killer's back in general, which stuns the killer, but you're dropping a pallet on them too. So you're getting like a double stun, and then so you're going to get blood points for that. They're going to be stunned longer than if you just popped off their back. And then not only this, but it counters like tunneling killers who, you know, just keep chasing you and you keep putting put on your back. And it kind of, you know, you compare it with Unbreakable, so then if they don't pick you up at all to try to counter that one, then you pick yourself up.
See, that's the thing. That's where I say this is a meta perk at this point, and this is going to be run by 4-man Survive with Friends that are debatably toxic and like super tryhardy at the game. But here's the thing, it synergizes with so much. You just get unhooked and you just got downed on a pallet. You have Decisive Strike. If they pick you up, you're gonna instantly get off, so they have to wait. But guess what? What if I'm running Flip Flop and now Power Struggle? Flip Flop, 50% of your recovery speed switches, or 50% of your recovery bar switches over to your struggle bar when you're picked up.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, if you do that with No Mither or Tenacity or Unbreakable, one of the ones that increases your recover speed on the floor, you recover to 50% quickly, and they can't pick you up because they have to wait out your decisive. And then if you have Unbreakable, you either get up anyways and run away because they left you slugged on the ground, or they try and pick you up and you instantly power struggle them and drop a pallet on them. Like, it synergizes with so many different perks, and it literally synergizes with the most meta and most used perk, I think, Decisive Strike.
Yeah.
So it's a really deadly weapon, really deadly tool.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. All these perks right now, they could be nerfed, they could be buffed before we see a full release. Same with the way that that the killer works, that Victor works. Another thing that I don't think we said before is if you head on out of a locker, that
you
counts.
Kill Victor,
That counts as a
also,
hit
to
on
clarify on Power Struggle, it is like Decisive that after you use it once, it deactivates and you can't use it again. But still, having 4 different survivors that all have that, all have a basically second decisive. That is, it's broken. It's insanely powerful.
I mean, and then if you pair that with Dead Hard too, I mean, it doesn't work with Decisive because I think Decisive is an exhaustion perk as well, right? No, it's not. Oh, I mean, if you pair that with Dead Hard too, you get an extra hit that you can dodge, and then once they pick you up, you either drop a pallet on them or you hop off their back.
Exactly. You run Dead Hard, Decisive, and then Power Struggle, and then one of the speedy recovery ones. I think Flip Flop would probably be the best because it's instant 50% switch, or 50% or recovery speed to 50% struggle. And that is like a new meta build right there.
And then you're not you're just gonna waste time at that point, and the killer's not gonna be able to get you on hook. So I guess that's it. I mean, this video is a little bit long, but there's a lot of details. I mean, as we said, it's almost in a way explaining 2 killers and how 2 killers work. And not only that, then there's all the juicy perks. So thank you guys for watching this episode of WBTV. If you have any opinions about the new killer, feel free to leave them down below. We will be doing new gameplay videos when the new killer comes out. Hopefully using that nice power struggle. I mean, I do plan, this is a DLC that I plan. I mean, I might not buy the killer.
I'm definitely not buying the killer.
But I will definitely buy the Survivor with your
I do not want to play the twins.
I mean, I just feel like playing Victor is going to be so funny.
No. Stop.
I mean, honestly, if they just made Victor the killer, that would be a lot better.
Just
Victor
wait for
by himself.
Chucky.
Yeah, coming. I mean, they're also talking about the Candyman. Apparently, might be coming.
Candyman.
I don't know. Apparently, he's a horror movie person. Willy Wonka. when you get the golden ticket, he's got golden tickets on the map. You gotta.
And then you go to his chocolate factory.
Oh yeah. It would be like a mini game in what's it called? Trivia Murder Party. Yeah, complete the mini game to get back into Dead by Daylight. It'd be like in Trivia Murder Party when you do Quiplash. It's like Dead by Daylight
stop with this
Trivia
tangent.
Murder Party.
Stop with this tangent.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of WBTV. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family, share with the guy at Free School, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you guys for watching WBTV. If you want to see more videos like this one, click the video on the right. If you want to see skits, click the video on the left. And make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss a single video.